Hey everybody, Beth Helvey with Couture Real Estate. I hope you're doing good today. So it is September 1st. All the pumpkins are out or something, I don't know. But it is fall, although not really here in Florida because I think the temperature today is going to be somewhere in the mid 90s. And of course, September is historically a really humid and warm month for me. Hey, Dion, it's also tends to be I'm sorry. Yeah, I was gone for a week or so while I moved offices. So it's also historically a pretty active hurricane season for us. So a lot of our big ones that have hit in September, sometimes October. Anyways, let's talk about the numbers. So when we're talking about our market numbers, I am talking about Monday to Sunday. So I'm talking about August 24 to August 30. And I stop there, and I always do Monday to Sunday. I do all of Sarasota County and all of Manatee County. And I'm not breaking it down by whether or not it's a condo or a single family home or the price point. So we can get into that, but today we're not going to. As of last week, 410 properties went active. 410 people put their property on the market. Now, this number has been kind of pretty much the same, but slowly going up. Hey, Darius, we have the week before was actually a little bit higher, but we've been getting back into roughly the low to mid 400s. We haven't gotten really over that yet, but you also have to understand that when this started, those numbers had dropped dramatically. The pending number is the big one. Last week in Sarasota and Manatee County, 676 properties went pending. That is a high for us since this started. That is the most number of properties that we have actually gone pending, which means that seller and buyer both agree to terms. The property is no longer available. It is off market, and buyer and seller are going through the process of getting the house ready to transfer from seller to buyer. Inspections, financing, any other contingencies that may be involved, etc. Okay? That's a huge number when you look at how many properties went active, especially when considering that we have not had that much inventory going on for the last, 3 months, 4 months now. Our inventory is getting less and less every month. The withdrawn and canceled category, which is people who have permanently taken their property off the market, is 71. That is a pretty normal number for us. There are always people who are taking their property off the market for whatever reason. It could be anything from they've decided not to sell, that it's a temporary thing, that they're going with another agent, that they're taking a break. It could be anything. And there's a lot of reasons why that happens, but that number is fairly normal right now for what we typically see. Sold. Our solds are up. So as of last week, 557 properties closed. Seller moved out, buyer got keys, buyer paid seller, money transferred to seller. It now automatically transferred to somebody else. That is what that means, is that there's less stuff on the market. Now we're seeing these bigger numbers because our pendings have been getting bigger, slowly getting bigger as we go. So we're not balanced real well. We don't have enough properties to sell. We've got a lot of people looking right now. And let me tell you something, now that a lot of the kids are in school, parents are looking. Okay, because we've got a lot of kids that are attending school virtually. We've also got a lot of kids that have gone off to school, whether that's college or they're in school, physically in school. Sarasota County started yesterday, and that frees up time for the parents to actually start looking. I have a handful of buyers I'm working with down here whose kids are virtually attending school instead of brick and mortar, and they're down here looking because they also work virtually like a lot of people do. And their thought process is, why should I be stuck in New York or New Jersey or Chicago, Ohio, wherever it's about to get cold when I can do it down here in the warm weather? Hi, Michael. We're going to be seeing a lot more of that. We're also seeing an exodus of people leaving some of these more tightly enclosed cities. I know that there's a lot of rentals on the market in New York, for example, right now. So a lot of people are leaving these areas of the country where there's a lot of people per square foot or per square mile, however you want to talk about it. And they're coming to here where we're a little bit more spread out. And I think other pockets of the country are also seeing an insurgence of people leaving their nearby cities to get into something, whether permanently or an escape, a temporary escape, to get out of some of these closer knit areas, especially if an area starts to see their numbers pop up. And speaking of numbers, the Florida's numbers are getting better. There's parts of the country that have better numbers than we do, but we've also been a lot worse. And there's parts of the country that have worse numbers than us. We've been below 5,000 incidences or positive test results per day for, I want to say, 35, 40 days now. So our numbers are starting to decline. That's also part of the reason I believe that we're seeing more people come here. When our numbers got real high, people were anxious. And now that they're starting to come back under control, people are feeling like it's a bit safer. And of course, taking precautions, and, when they go home, especially the people that are working virtually, they're able to quarantine, especially if their state requires it. That's what's going on. So there's a lot going on right now. Again, the pending numbers are crazy high. 676 in 1 week. That's crazy high. That's significantly more pendings than we do have properties available. The stats are somewhere around 2 months of inventory, which is not balanced. Typically speaking, we have 6 months, which means there's enough properties where the seller is likely to sell the property. There's enough properties for when buyers come to town that they can actually find something. And, and that's what we consider a balanced market, is around the 6 month mark. But we're at 2. Now, we're not as bad as some of the rest of the country. Hey, Daniel, there are areas of the rest of the country where you put your sign in the yard and then you've got contracts. I've got colleagues in other parts of the country who are dealing with 5, 10 offers on one property within the first 48 hours. We're not there yet. I don't know if we're going to get there. It depends on what happens with our inventory. If our inventory starts to go up, we probably won't get there. If our inventory doesn't improve, we might get there. What are you to do? Seller, if you want to sell your property, now's the time to sell. Make sure your house is priced right. Make sure your house presents well, that you do the work ahead of time, whether that's a coat of paint or cleaning the carpets or some staging or packing up stuff. Make sure you do that, because the people who come to town are people who want to buy, not who have to buy. That's a big difference. People who have to buy are going to make those hard decisions. People who want to buy are going to come back. They're not going to make that decision because they don't have to. Buyers, it's a competitive market. What are you to do? Have your proof of funds ready and updated. So if you had a proof of funds pulled 90 days ago, pull a new one. Excuse me. If you're going to get a loan, get pre-approved. Your pre-approval is usually good for 60 days, roughly. If your pre-approval is about to expire, or if your pre-approval has expired, talk to your lender about getting that updated. Because if you do submit an offer and you are one of many and you submit an outdated pre-approval, the seller's going to go with a sure thing. And can you blame them? It's their property. They want to make sure they get to closing. Okay? Make sure you're on top of all of that. So that is the market in a nutshell. I'll come back tomorrow. We'll start talking more things about like condos and single family homes and get back to basics of the contract. I hope y'all are having a good day. It's hot. It's really hot out. So it's like in the mid 90s. It's like 1,000% humidity, but this is what we love about Florida. If you have the opportunity to get outside and enjoy the sunshine, I encourage you to do so. Wear your sunscreen, drink plenty of water, and I will talk to you later. Bye, everybody.